It's super easy to issue a token on Stellar. Let's take a look at exactly what the steps are and what this looks like in practice. So let's say we're going to issue a utility token for a hypothetical decentralized social network, for example. The first thing you're going to want to do is to create an issuing account. An issuing account is used just for issuing and destroying assets. So to do this, you can either use the laboratory, which is a set of tools that allows you to build transactions, to sign them, and to submit them to the network. You can also use it to make requests to any of the Horizen API endpoints, all without having to do any programming at all. Of course, this can all be done programmatically as well, if that's more your style. And to do that, you can use our JavaScript SDK or any other SDKs that we have available. So let's go ahead and get this set up using the lab. We're going to select the test network, but of course in practice you'd want to select the live network. We're going to hit the button to generate our keys, and we're going to write these down and keep them in a safe place. Now, to create the account inside the network, you need to send lumens to this public key. So from any Stellar wallet, send 31 lumens to this new public key that you just generated. But since we're in the test network right now, we can use a handy tool that we call the friend bot to populate our account with 10,000 lumens on the test network. Alright, now that we've created our issuing account, we need to create a distribution account. A distribution account is used to transact with other Stellar accounts, and it holds a balance of assets issued by the issuing account. So we're going to use the same method as before to create this account, and this one we need to create with at least 41 lumens. Since we're on the test network here, again we're going to use FriendBot to send us 10,000 lumens on the test network. Alright, and of course we need to write these down and keep them safe. The next thing we're going to want to do is create a trust line. So in Stellar, accounts need to explicitly trust an issuing account before they're able to hold that issuer's credit. So in order for the distribution account that you just made to be able to hold your tokens, you need to create a trust line between the distribution account and the issuing account. So we're going to go to the transaction builder, and we're going to set the source account to the public key of your distribution account, because that's the account that's creating this trust line. Now we're going to click the blue button to fetch the correct sequence number for your distribution account, and this just tells the network how to sequence transactions. The next thing we're going to do is select Change Trust as the operation type. Now we're going to give your token a name in the asset field and add the public key of the issuing account below it. Now we need to set the trust limit to the number of tokens that you want to create. So let's say in this case we'll create 5,000 tokens. Next thing we do is click Sign in Transaction Signer and add your distribution account's secret key to sign the operation. And now we hit Submit to Post-Transaction Endpoint and Submit to finally submit it to the network. Alright, now that the distribution account trusts the issuing account, you can create your tokens. So again, we're going to use the transaction builder. We're going to set the source account to the public key of your issuing account this time. We're going to again click the blue button to fetch the correct sequence number for your issuing account. Now we're going to choose payment as the operation type. Now, since we're sending tokens from the issuing account to the distribution account, we're going to add the public key of the distribution account in the destination field. And then we choose the type of asset, alphanumeric 4 or 12, which is the same as you selected in the previous step, and specify the token name in the asset code field. And then we add the public key of the issuer account in the issuer account ID field. Now you input the number of tokens you wish to send to the distribution account, and this can be up to as many as you specified in the trust limit step. And again, you hit Sign in Transaction Signer and add your issuing account secret key to sign the operation. Then you click Submit to Post-Transaction Endpoint and Submit. You can find more details about issuing assets on our developer page by clicking on this link. Alright, so now your token exists in the Stellar network. Now it's going to be important to prove to the world that you won't flood the market with your tokens by creating more and more of them. So what you're going to want to do is lock the issuing account so it can no longer make transactions. You can do this simply by changing the weight of the master signer on the account. So as a matter of background, Stellar uses signatures as authorization for operations. Transactions always need authorization from at least one public key in order to be considered valid. Usually, transactions only need authorization from the public key of the source account or the master key. So what we're going to do here to lock the issuing account is make the account require signatures from more than one account to authorize operations. And then we're going to set the weight of the master key to 0. So again, open up the transaction builder, set the source account to the public key of your issuing account. Again, click the blue button to fetch the correct sequence number. Now we're going to choose Set Options as the operation type. Now we're going to scroll down and we're going to set the master key weight to 0, and we're going to set the threshold for low, medium, and high, which correspond to different operation types, to 1. Now what this does is it'll require a signature to authorize any type of operation, but renders the signature weight of the master key useless. And because we're not specifying which accounts actually can sign off on an operation, we're effectively making it so that no one can. This means the maximum supply of these tokens will never exceed the 5,000 that we just created. And then, of course, like always, we sign the transaction in the transaction signer and submit it to the network. So, now that this account is locked, you can be sure that there'll only ever be 5,000 of these tokens in the world. And there's actually a way to prove that this is the case. And in order to do that, you can go to the Endpoint Explorer, hit Accounts under Select Resource, and Single Account as the endpoint. And then if you put in the public key of your issuing account in the Account ID field, you can scroll down and see the code that shows that the thresholds are set to 1 and the weight of the public key or the master key is set to 0, which means that nobody can authorize transactions from this account. Okay, now your token exists and everything's ready to go. The final step is to get them in the hands of the people. That's where the Stellar Decentralized Exchange comes in. All you have to do to get your tokens out into the world is to simply put an offer for them on the exchange. Again, you can do that programmatically, or you can use the transaction builder to create an offer to sell your tokens on the exchange. Let's run through it. You're going to set the source account to the public key of the distribution account. As always, we're going to fetch the sequence number, and then we're going to select Manage Offer as the operation type. Now, in the selling section, we're going to specify the asset code and the issuing account public key, and then we need to specify what we're selling it for. So in this case, let's choose native, which means that we're selling it for lumens, which is the native currency of the Stellar network. We're going to specify the number of tokens that we're selling, and of course the price, which is set in lumens. And since it's a new offer, we're going to put in a 0 in the offer ID field. Sign the transaction and submit it to the network, and voila, your tokens are available for purchase.